Hello everyone, welcome back. We're on location here, a new garden project that me and a friend of mine have been building up slowly for the last 8 months, and he kindly commissioned me to do his garden and help him with some of the home renovations. So today I'll give you a walk around this 80% finished project. So we're almost there. So in springtime, in a couple of seasons, I'll come back and do a follow-up video when all the fencing and all the trees have grown and the grass has grown. But this is a very coastal location with its own set of challenges, and when I say coastal, this is what I'm talking about. So the ocean's about 150 to 200 metres to the south of me in that direction, and the soil here is very sandy. So as I mentioned before, had its own set of challenges, and soil fertility and levelling the site was probably the two biggest challenges. So we've brought in about 12 metres of soil, topsoil, and some compost enriched soil, and levelled out various areas around the garden, and also with all the fruit trees that we've put in, I've dug around about 800 millimetres into the ground and backfilled all of that with the compost enriched soil. So under each fruit tree there's quite a lot of fertile soil, but we had to bring that in. So here in the front yard there's a nice mix of hardy ornamental flowering plants, mostly Proteas, and some rarer stuff like we've got a couple of Plumeria here for the front entrance. They seem to be thriving there, also known as Frangapani. And we move around, we have more hardy ornamentals, and in this corner over here near the bird bath I've added 2 dwarf lemons. We've got a Eureka on that side, a Mayor on this side with some nice lemons on it, and a Feijoa over the back here, a seedling. This is Feijoa number 2, and they seem to thrive here in this coastal location. There's a smaller tree at the front, and it's produced about 30 fruit. They already had fruitlets on when I put them in the ground, and they're producing good quality fruit actually. So this one looks like it's got about 10 or so, and I think next year when they cross-pollinate each other we'll get much more fruit, and maybe even bigger fruit, but the fruit's quite large already. So it's a nice little edible corner there. It'll look nice when the fence goes up behind it. It's a very windy location, so any sort of protection can help. I think it's one of the most windiest regions in Australia. It stretches from Wilson's Promontory down to Bass Coast. So as I mentioned earlier, it's approximately 80% finished, this project, and from these gates beyond in the back it's 90% edible. So got a little herb patch here with some rosemary, some oregano, a little miniature bay leaf, and this basil, which has turned out to be one of the most awesome bee trees that I've ever seen. You can actually hear them buzzing if I put the camera close. Every single day that's covered in bees. So this whole area here was very uneven, and we've had to level it all out and add all of these garden beds. We've got some more herbs, some lavender, and down here we have a lot of blueberries and 2 miniature apples in the corner here. So I think this one's the leprechaun, which is a miniature Granny Smith, and this one's Pinkabell, which is a miniature pink apple. And I just noticed it's flowering, but that's the wrong time of year. It's probably just a sign that it's quite happy there. So all of the shedding and everything has been added by us, and around the front of the property here is a bit of a citrus section. We have a dwarf emperor mandarin, a dwarf imperial. Here we've got a dwarf Washington navel orange, and a very nice healthy grafted loquat. That's the mammoth variety. So the entire property's been renovated, so even that pergola is new. And then on the other side of the staircase there we have the other Feijoa, which has produced about 30 fruit. And in the beginning, the first fruits that fell were very large, and I just noticed another one's fallen there, which they're starting to get a bit smaller as the season goes on. But very hardy in this coastal location, and quite a bit of salt laden winds in this area. So it just goes to show how hardy they are, and the birds don't notice the fruit. So we've got some more herbs along the side here, and 3 big olive trees. It'll be a nice windbreak, and a bit of a screen for the patio there. There's still quite a bit of room in the backyard. We've put a little English box hedge border to that new pathway. We've added a fire pit for cooking as well. Another nice fence that adds as a windbreak as well. So I'm just waiting on another 4 cubic metres of soil to be delivered to that spot there, so we can level out just around this fire pit a little bit more. But over in this back corner here, this will be the veggie raised bed section, and it'll be fenced off because there's quite a lot of rabbits here. There'll be a low colorbond fence, steel fence, that goes from there on an angle across there, and you'll be able to walk in to this section here and harvest the veggies in this corner here where you see the orange paint. That'll be a persimmon tree, a Feijoa persimmon tree, which has the wind protection from the neighbouring garage there, so they're quite brittle, the Feijoa, so that's where the Feijoa will go. Another raised bed, and then in those two locations there and there, will be two grafted avocados, and we'll just shade mesh that corner until they get quite large. But once they reach the top of the fence, they'll be in full sun. So we come along here to this corner here, and where the orange paint is there, we're going to build a L-shaped dragon fruit trellis, and chose that location because we've got this native banksia tree over the top to protect from frost, dull some of the extreme heat in summer, and it's well protected from the wind with this large water tank as a heat sink. So everything we've planted here, we've had to think about microclimates and soil fertility, but yeah, that's an overview of the garden, and I'll just quickly go through some of the ideas we've implemented to get around some of them challenges. So all of the bordering, except for the future veggie bed, have river rock in them, and the reason for that is this is a very highly prone bushfire area. It's probably still 80% native vegetation, which burns quite easily in the summer, so we've put rocks as the borders, so any embers that land in the garden beds in bushfire season can't catch on. That's a positive because for the plants, because the overnight warmth retention in the rocks, but very bad for soil fertility because the rocks don't break down like mulch would. So every fruit tree planted has a steel ring around it, and that's where it gets watered from, fed with organic liquid fertilizer and sea salt, etc. And as the ring rusts slowly over many years, it adds a bit of iron to the soil. So you can see how the citrus are thriving, much better than the citrus I've got at home. And another benefit of this location is not many people grow fruit, so you don't get the pests like the leaf miner and things hopping from yard to yard. Yeah, I haven't noticed a single leaf miner on any of the citrus. Species selection is also important. So loquats, citrus, Feijoas all seem to handle this area quite well. Olives, especially olives. Yeah, at planting, as I mentioned earlier, I dug out a huge circle, took all of that pure sandy soil out of there, and used that to level the backyard in places, and backfilled it with a rich organic mix brought in from the local garden supplies. And every fruit tree had that treatment, and yeah, it seems to work. Any replenishment, like I said before, will be done through those rings. So I'll just move back into the front yard again, and something I forgot to mention, that under every garden bed there's weed mat, breathable weed mat that was put down before the rocks went on, and that was one of the most time-consuming jobs, cutting it to shape, cutting it around the plants and everything, but it'll pay off in the long run when there's no weeding to do in the garden beds. Alright, so what's left to do in the garden? The remaining 20% is just finishing off things, a bit more levelling, and a few more fruit trees to go in. So this spot here, we're going to put a fig, and it's going to be espaliered over the years all the way along this warm fence. so could end up being a very, very long espaliered fig tree. It can grow as long as it wants in that position. And then down here by the fire pit, there will be a windbreak fence put along here, and then there will be miniature fruit trees, probably a peach, nectarine, apricot, and maybe another peach. So that'll probably do it for the fruit trees. And then along that back fence, from that corner until about there, that'll be a nice sugarcane raised bed. So all pretty unique things to do in a coastal location like this, but the owners decided they want to get into edible gardening rather than ornamental gardening, and yeah, they kindly asked me to help do this garden, and it's been the first time in my life I've got paid to do a passion. So yeah, very appreciative for that opportunity, and a completely blank slate. This garden was completely blank, didn't have any beds or anything, so we were able to design it from scratch exactly how the owners wanted it. So it's been fantastic. The property also has bore water, which we haven't tested, but all the plants seem to do okay with it. There's no signs of chlorosis or anything like that, and just planted a few Protea in front of it to hide the pump itself. But yeah, very handy to have that bore water, which is unlimited supply of free water. Next update on this place will be once everything's finished and these beds are all filled and veggies and potatoes and things are growing. And yeah, I'll just run out the video with the other charm of this location, and that's the local wildlife. It's one of the few places where the housing has been integrated into nature but hasn't destroyed it. So there's quite a lot of native animals still in this location, and beautiful bushland reserves, and an amazing amount of bird life. So the soil's arrived, so I better stop filming and get back to work, I think. Thanks, mate. There we are, thanks to the wonders of YouTube. The area around the fire pit is now flattened. Probably took about 3 cubic metres of soil, and I've added grass seed to that, and I'll water that in a second. There it is from a different angle. Where I'm walking now will be a concrete path from that gate, and it will connect with that other concrete path and leave a nice spot for that garden bed I mentioned earlier along there. So that's how it looks all levelled out. Happy with that.